right, welcome to another episode of People I Know, coming live from the living room with the ever-present hookah. Also, another special guest, fresh in, on a shipment from the West Coast, my man Chad Allie.
How y'all doing?
Blast from the past, man.
Taking it way back.
Very, very, super way back, like cornrows way back.
Right. Long hair don't care.
This really though. But very, very interesting guy, and not in like the generic of ways. So low-key, Chad is a superhero. He actually has a lair built under his house, bat cave and the whole nine. He actually majored in engineering.
Yes, sir.
Worked for Boeing.
Still do.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so he builds things that stay in the air.
And make sure you fly safe.
He does that.
Fuel systems is important.
And then you're also working on your new app.
Correct.
Exactly. So we have a variety of viewpoints.
You're doing a lot right now.
Oh man.
Doing too much.
Too much?
Yeah.
Nah, never that, man. You can handle all that.
You're right.
All right, so first things first.
Mm-hmm.
Boeing. Why Boeing?
Man, to be 100% honest, they're the first ones that reached out to me to, give me a job, give me an opportunity, give me a shot. And that's kind of what I wanted to get to. I wanted to get into aviation. I always loved planes all my life. Never expected to get hired from them. It was crazy. I went to the National Society of Black Engineers conference in Pittsburgh. I remember interviewing like 5 different companies, including Boeing. And they were the ones that reached out to me first in terms of giving me an offer. So, long story short, I ended up moving, taking my talents to South Seattle.
Take your talents to south of Canada.
South of Canada. The exact opposite end of the United States.
From Orlando
to Seattle.
So how was that adjustment, man? Like, what was the first thing that you stepped off the plane, or when was that moment that you had when you realized you were not in Florida anymore? Like, this is different.
When I realized that there were mountains that weren't actually dirt mountains used for construction.
Or landfills.
Right. Mountains everywhere, man, on both ends, east, west, just mountains running up and down the entire state. It's crazy, the amount of scenery. It rains, but, people up from there complain a lot about it raining. I got friends telling me, doesn't it rain over there all the time? Like, we lived in Florida. That's real rain, We get, like, partial rain, You could still do stuff outside in Seattle. In Florida, you probably drown, if you walk outside too long.
Minor detail, yeah.
Right.
Get like the polite twilight mist.
Right. Exactly.
Makes your skin glitter.
Nah, Forks is on the other end of Washington. We don't receive those people.
How you already get bougie? What's it been like? Well, it's been like
man,
3-4 years.
It's been 4 years since I started at Boeing.
Okay, yeah. See now you're already in.
I'm in too deep.
You're in that now.
Leave me alone.
All right. So what do you do at Boeing, man? Like, what's a typical day look like for you?
Honestly, I'm literally just behind a computer, working magic, moving numbers, making stuff happen, making sure airplanes are.
Sounds really nondescript.
If
you're under gag order, that's fine.
No, not at all. It's not. I'm on the commercial side, not the defense side, so I can speak on what I do. But for the most part, I'm supporting. In my previous role, I was supporting our core fuels team, so we would help develop new analysis processes for all the other fuels teams. So there's different airplanes that Boeing creates, 737 through the 7th and newest 787, and they have fuel system teams for each of those airplanes. And the fuel systems kind of range differently. Most people don't know there's fuel in the wings. So and there's fuel that you're sitting on or sitting over rather. So that's just we developed the architecture, as in like the piping, the pumping, the valve systems, all the things that control the fuel system flow to the engine from the tanks. Right, exactly. The internals, the most important part of the airplane, so to speak. We think we're the center of the universe, at least.
Keeps the plane in the air, kind of is.
Basically,
So, to the untrained ear,
mm-hmm.
well, I guess you already said it. Yeah, there's fuel in the wings. Like, how much more unexpected would it get? You're not going to help people that have fear of flights with that statement, by the way.
Oh, not at all. And I mean, I could go even further into that, which probably won't make people comfortable. But I will say this: that flying is still, after working there for 4 years, flying is most definitely the safest mode of travel. Like we build in so much redundancy into our system. If it fails safely. We always have a backup, something to help support, something to make sure that the pilots still know how much fuel is in the airplane, because that's important to them. They know how far they can travel, make sure that their engines are functioning properly, all their pumps, everything in the airplane, in the fuel system that's related to it. So we make sure there's enough redundancy in the systems so that the pilots never have to make a mistake in their judgment of what to do in a certain situation.
So the backups have backups.
Absolutely.
So being that thorough, how does that...
That's government regulated.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. FAA.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Especially when it comes to redundancy. That actually is one scenario.
Public safety.
That's exactly where you want that mindset. Does that ever become strenuous?
It doesn't, to an extent, because we have actual representatives who support these efforts. All of our airplanes have to go through some level of certification via a government agency, the FAA, and we have designated officials that go out and do testing with these airplanes to verify that it meets the requirements of the specific standards and requirements that the FAA has lined out in order to certify an airplane for service, commercial service. And so once we accomplish that, send the airplane off to the customer, or the customer comes to pick it up, they fly home, and they start service with it at the airport of, Dominion.
So since you started 4 years ago, do you have a rough idea of how many units you've actually put out?
It's not, so I haven't, up until now,
yeah.
I haven't worked in actual airplane program, worked for the 737 or 787 program. Like I said, I've been doing the core work where we support all those programs from the back end, so to speak. If they need help in certain situations, we have more capability on our end to help support them. Yeah. Their main focus is to make sure that they get the airplane produced. And if it's a brand new design, once it's already produced, it goes into sustaining, and they just keep pumping them out. It's just the first time around they got to make sure that they get it right.
So only got to get it right once.
Every time, but once they get it right the first time, they can replicate it. Right.
You only have to get it right one time, every time.
Right.
It's actually a pretty good mantra. I might keep that.
I'm gonna let you keep it.
Yeah, the first time, every time, no, every title. All right, so moving along, man. You're making an app.
Sir, I am.
What, where, why, how, and with whom?
Well, we plan to talk about it. We plan to put some stuff out in the airwaves soon enough.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it
without giving too much. It's still in the infancy. So
right. It's coming. It's definitely coming. I'm working on it with my best friend. It was his idea. He put it together, and he asked me to be his right-hand man to help him out. And I said, I'm all about it. We've been working on projects together for a long time, and this is one of the ones that really took flight. We've just been sticking with it ever since.
That was a really good pun.
You already know. I'm not that clever, I promise.
So what's it pertain to? We're gonna keep it real general. We're gonna get the broad one.
It pertains to the world of fitness, health, and wellness.
Okay.
That's the market we're trying to support.
Now, are those tenets that you have always been interested in? Do they play a consistent role in the lifestyle that you lead now? Give me more of that. How does that affect you?
So definitely do enjoy the fitness lifestyle.
Okay.
It's not so much as much of an interest to me as it is to my friend. My close friend. He's been training all his life. That's just what he does. I love it, but not as much as him, right?
Gotcha.
There's levels to it. So I'm definitely into it. He's into it. He's been in the gym all his life, so he's just kind of he had this vision where he sees how the current system operates, and he wants to help change that, because ultimately we want to make sure that people can get affordable fitness, and they can also make sure they get the gains that they want to get. and make sure that they, stay healthy and turn it into a lifestyle instead of just something that they have to go pay for, like more like a chore.
Gotcha. The begrudging, like
right.
purely.
I got to go to the gym.
I'm required to.
I'm required to because I paid this absurd amount of money for it.
Because society has to say I stay in shape, or because I don't want to be single for the rest of my life.
Right.
Stuff like that.
New Year's resolutions, etc., etc.
Let's not even get into that. There are people right now setting their New Year's resolutions list up, knowing good and well.
Oh yeah.
Half of that stuff's not going to make it past January 10th.
Right. But hopefully, some of those people that are trying to do that, they make it happen.
Okay, so what is one thing that your idea does differently that you feel as though you can do to engage, like those that disengage? Like, what do you think that you can do to fill that void? And that's just sheer curiosity.
So, in terms of how it's different from, I guess, current things out there, it's one thing where we're controlling the pricing scheme, so we're keeping things controlled for the end user,
Okay.
and we're helping the people that support us make money. So, and in the most general sense, in the typical setting, when you're a trainer or something like that, and you work for someone, they keep the biggest cut of the pie when you sell a package, or when you do this or you do that. We're flipping that around and making sure that the person that's working for us is the person that keeps the majority of that income. Well, of course, having a retainer fee for ourselves.
Of course, but I mean, not screwing people over, still finding ways to make money.
Trying to make the world a better place.
Client-centered.
People-centered.
Novel.
Right. If only corporations understood that. Put the people first and the money come. Instead of looking for profit first.
Hashtag enterprise holdings. Cheap pun. But, wow, so that's heavy. So it seems like there's like some element of altruism mixed up in there. Like there's a very real desire to help people.
Absolutely. That is the basis behind it. Because the way it is now is, people don't really see the gains that they want to see, and for what they're paying for.
Okay.
It doesn't always happen.
Is that something that you've experienced firsthand?
Not myself.
Okay.
My friend who's been in the industry has seen that firsthand and dealt with that, and it's just been something that's bothered him because he's a fitness head. He just enjoys that stuff, and to see people, not want to take care of themselves because of an experience they've had with, trying to get more fit through some program. It's kind of like that's not the purpose of fitness.
It's almost like church hurt.
Yes, exactly. And then all of a sudden you hate every church that you go to. It's like, what, I don't even do church. And that's not. You have to go there to understand what's really happening. Don't look at it as just the entity, right? Yeah. Look at it for what it's actually trying to provide you.
So there's a lot of context happening here.
Yes.
So that means, has that in any way, shape, or form changed the way that you viewed other aspects of life? Have you noticed, the way that you may attack this influencing and or being influenced by the way that you handle everything else?
To be honest, I had this mindset prior to doing this app.
Oh, wow.
And this was involving the energy project that I told you about.
Okay, well, let's take it there. Let's take it there. I know, they don't know.
Oh, right. Of course. Ultimately, that's my goal at the end of the day. This, once there's capital available, that's what I want to eventually focus my efforts on.
Okay.
Making sure, I want, basically my whole premise of that energy project is to make sure that everyone has access to electricity. And I know that sounds kind of far-fetched, sounds kind of crazy, but Bill Gates sounded crazy when he said he wants a PC in every home.
I mean, Apple users probably still think it sounds crazy that someone wants a PC in every home.
Right.
But
We digress.
Exactly, I digress. That's the point, man. Well, keep that up. Like, how is that going as far as progress goes? And then, as a follow-up, how do people, keep in touch with any movements or progressions that you're making with either of those endeavors?
So that project, that energy project, is manifested to a certain point, but it's been put on hold because I've put in full support into this this app that we're working on now.
Yeah.
And in terms of people keeping up with it, I haven't essentially broadcasted completely. I have the idea, I have prototypes, but it's not to the point where I'm ready to expose it completely. I still have a lot of work to do to get it to where I want it to be before I can say, yay, verily, this will actually work. So
You got accountability now. This might be internet.
right, it just might be. It is what it is.
Yeah, indeed.
I said my piece.
And it was a heavy piece. Thank you.
It was a lot.
Well received. So that being said, like you in general, your comings, your goings, any leisurely activities, fashion tips for people who like turtleneck sweaters. Where can they find you on the internet, man? Where you at on social media?
Man, you can find me at Chad Allie. I'm on Facebook. I don't do Instagram. I've been trying to weed myself away from going into too much social media. Keep it to like one platform. There is Snapchat though.
You're trying to wean off.
I eventually gave into it, but it is what it is. I'm not on Instagram. Instagram will keep me on like most people all day, and I'm diverted from that one. Facebook, I could actually leave alone for a little bit.
All right. So are you Chad Allie on Snap as well?
Geez, where am I?
That's a good question.
Yeah, maybe I should look it up, but I don't know if that's the time. But
I'll make sure I post it in the comments.
Right. You can find me on Snapchat if you want to follow me and whatnot. Crazy life. Airplanes, travel. You name it.
That's it, man.
Yeah, but Chad Allie at Facebook.
Appreciate your time, Chad. Thank you very much for blessing the series.
Hey, blessed to be here.
Hey, first time, every time. Peace.